I had a request for feathers. How do you draw feathers? I need help with feathers. So here we go. I'm going to try to draw this duck. I did a little practice before. I'll start loose, quick, gesturally, general to specific. For the first 20 seconds is the most important part. Here's about 2 minutes or 3 minutes of sketching. I'm going to use the eraser to clarify some of this outline before I proceed with the detail. See what that looks like. Bring out that'll be okay. There's another minute of work. I've got the gestural basic plan of it. It fits on the page, some notation of the reflection, but I want to work on a couple samples of types of feathers for you. I've done this work now. I switch to the detail position, and I can, with confidence, put the line where I know it's supposed to go. And I just want to feature some parts of this. I'll start with the larger leaves first. So like, or the leaves, I say leaves. They look like leaves, don't they? The larger feathers first. So like, it reminds me a little bit of fish scales. I'm going to switch to a detail position here, and I'm going to do some overlapping like this, and they come back kind of like fish scales from there, don't they? There's large feathers, there's small feathers, there's main contours here, there's a blue feather right here. But they come to a sort of a point. Also reminds me of snake scales. And I'm just going to wing it here. Draw these in quickly with the side of my pencil. Stab and drag. And there's that overlapping leaf shape. Stab and drag. Put some of these in there. I want to capture the direction of those. There's some smaller ones in here. This is a hard one. But okay, there's smaller ones over here, but I'm going to ignore that part. Look closely and persist in vision and make it dark where it's dark. So you can outline the little highlights, build a little fence around all the little highlights. And then you can shade up to them. Look at that. Look what that does. Mechanical operation. Doesn't it look feathery? The pencil laying flat. Doesn't that look feathery? That articulation is important there. Persist, look close. You can go slower and get the exact little nooks and crannies of that. Now a little blending stump action and a little eraser action. Now I'm going to try to zap in some of those highlights in the same directions that I've gone before, using those chiseled edges. Get nice and clean. Now let's go in here. It's a fast version, but I hope this helps. I hope it looks feathery. Some of those feathers make a perfect edge, some of them don't. So persist in vision and try to master all that. And then down in here that you can kind of like little symbolic little textures. Starting to look feathery there. Let's work on the face a while. When you're working on a drawing, if an area is giving you a problem, avoid it. Go here, go there. Then come back to that later. So this will be just kind of a start. And this eye, it's important to capture that reflection, I think, right from the start. So it's about like that. That eye may be a little bit too big, but we'll see. And it blends over here. It goes over here. Notice this. I'm laying it down here. Laying it down sideways to get this back and forth action right there. I know the direction of those feathers, so laying it down like this. The back and forth action is what I'm going for. Like this. There. And so none of it's white, so I'm going to shade it all. I'm going to beef up this. The only part of this that's white is the highlight right there, and that's not even white. It's a light gray. I'll beef all this up. Get on in there with your blending stump too. And then look at the directions of those feathers. And this is darker on the back of the head, right here on the top of the head. Make it dark where it's dark. Make it hard-edged where it's hard-edged. Make it soft-edged where there's soft edges. And have the lines and directions match the directions of the hair or the directions of the feathers. So these one this way. And here I can switch to a detail and I can do a little stab and jabs. Little hatching lines. And the direction might make a difference. What I mean by that is if I'm going this way it's going to have a point on that edge. And if I'm going this way, it's going to have a point on this edge, and a blunt here where I start, and sharp where I flick it out. So based on this image, I might like to go in this direction. Makes more sense this way. And that outline is very important. You can get a likeness with the outline alone. The position of it and the texture of the outline. Well, it's a start. I hope I have enough data, but I know I've got about a 10-minute limit. If that, I don't know. I usually like to make these videos less than 3 minutes. But we shall see. And that would... If you don't like an area, avoid it. Come back to it later. But use these mechanical devices, rubbing and erasing and twisting and rolling and jabbing and scribbling, and do what works to get the texture where you want it. And then you can go, you have more than 10 minutes to go, and you can really look and you can really articulate each of these little feathers. Kind of like I did here with this fish. If you look, there's lots of little erasing things where I would lay paper across this, or I would shade off of this. That's how you get these little edges here and there. And what it becomes is it kind of becomes, over time, over hours, it becomes sort of improvisational. So I look at the fish and then I just improvise there. If we count the number of little segments, does it matter if it matches? No. Is anyone going to see it? No. This was actually a combination of different features from different fish images I was working with. And there's some stylistic liberties taken with this part back here once I figured out the way, kind of a figure eight method that those things worked. But you can go for hours and hours in there, but overall make sure that it's dark. Make sure that make it dark where it's dark. And it's just a piece of paper. You can always erase it back if you need to. All right, take your time. Feathers are hard. Fins, feathers, fur. Well, fur's not so hard. I did the grass earlier, all right. That's it. I hope that helps.